Hola, hello, friends. Welcome to the metaphysical end of the YouTube psychic community. The way out there. This is the way out there channel. We like to take you into space here, as far as we can, as far the furthest reaches of space and the known reality. That's where we like to go here. By which I mean me. So thanks for coming along. Got my pal Jesus here. Non-denominational Jesus, everybody's friend and ally Jesus, essence of love. So, yeah, last night had a very unusual, which is not unusual for me to have an unusual dream, metaphysical space dream, of course. Excuse me, and there wasn't a lot of detail to it. I can't remember very much of it, so this will be probably pretty brief. But it was interesting. The premise of the dream was that a seemingly very powerful person who was experiencing a massive defeat decided to essentially commit a form of suicide. Don't worry, this isn't graphic. By launching himself as a missile into the sun. Our sun. S-U-N. Not our son. S-O-N. So this person, they had wanted to appear to be powerful, and they conceived of themselves as powerful. And so when I woke up, my thoughts eventually sort of landed around someone like Vladimir, that kind of a person. It didn't come to me right away, but that kind of person, if not that person. And in response to a major defeat in life from which this person had no recovery, they decided that they would use their remaining energy and project themselves as in the form of a missile into the sun to try to destroy all life in the solar system. The idea was that by launching oneself into the sun, that it would cause a nuclear reaction that would be so massive that it would basically shoot solar material right back at Earth, like disrupt the surface to an extent that it would just shoot jets of, the sun's plasma at the Earth and incinerate the Earth. That was the concept. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the sun is so massive that even if we were to hypothetically shoot a nuclear missile into the sun, I think it would just go up like a little puff of smoke. Nothing would happen to the sun in that scenario. The sun is far too massive and powerful to be disrupted by a nuclear detonation, I believe. Don't quote me on it, but I believe. So, but yet, this person was maybe instilling some fear because they were going to carry out this action. And so this was like their final protest against the way they felt they had been treated. This narcissism. And but when the launch took place, it was like a human missile. It was like a human, like the form of the person was kind of like within the body of a missile. It was like a human-sized missile. But when it was shot, and I could see it being shot off, and I had a kind of like space view of the sun and stuff too. What was weird was somehow one of two things happened. The missile was either redirected by an outside party, or the person in the missile, the human missile itself, had realized that taking on the sun was not going to have the intended effect. It would not be effective. And so instead they decided to launch themselves at the moon. Either way, the missile that had originally had been intended to disrupt the sun and cease life in the solar system. Sorry, got a thing on my screen. Instead was somehow redirected to the moon. And then I had a view of the moon. And I saw the missile hit the moon. And it was the same concept that, like, by slamming into the moon, it would cause all this debris to be jettisoned from the moon towards Earth. The idea being that you would create, deadly rocks that would end life on Earth by smashing down into the moon. Kind of like when astronomers or other kind of like scientific folks talk about how they think our moon may have formed, like as a collision between two planets, and that a chunk of Earth got broken off and may have formed the moon. They don't know for sure, but that's one of the ideas of how the moon may have formed, as a piece of the Earth that was broken off in a collision of two planetary bodies early in the formation of the solar system. Yeah, it was kind of like the same concept where, like, you would have all this debris. But then it was comical because I saw the missile, the human missile person, crash into the moon, and this little tiny, like, plume came up. Like poof, poof. Like a little bit of debris, but not the intended effect. Basically, it was completely futile suicide attempt. And it struck me as so in line with how these people who think that they're just so amazing, they're so self-aggrandizing, they have such high ideas of themselves and their importance, like Vladimir, like Mr. 45, like many of the members of the GOP MAGA caucus. They think they're so important, and they're such duds. And so this literally was a dud. This missile hit the moon, and it was like poof, and nothing. It had like zero effect in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, so I did. And then later in the day today, I was thinking about it again, and I was thinking how very much that could be like Vladimir, because the missile could be sort of symbolic of what he's thinking of resorting to in Ukraine, where he's conceiving of using like nuclear weaponry, and they've already fired dummy nuclear heads at cities in Ukraine, which is, just to try to scare people. Like it's a nuclear warhead, but it's not armed. They're just awful. And I read today an article in the New York Times about how badly the war is going for Russia. It's a really long article. It's fascinating. Their brutality is just really incomprehensible. They're really it doesn't make any sense, and they're destined to fail. But the human cost is just so high. So I pray for Ukraine as often as I can. That's probably the biggest prayer that I've got going these days, because I think about it a lot. And when I saw a report on some of the people there and how they're suffering through early winter with no heat and electricity, and it's just not fathomable. We have no idea sometimes how good we have it, and I really am trying to live as much from that every day as I can, that gratitude, even when things don't always go according to plan or the way I want them to go. Because there are some things like, there are little things in my life, little compared to what's going on over there, that are not going exactly the way I want them to right now. But I'm trying to just be like, hey, be grateful, be grateful. Yeah. So coming back again, yeah, it's ironic that in the dream that this person was in the form of a missile, because that's kind of like his mentality. And it is possible that Vladimir is still thinking about the nuclear option, but it really isn't an option, because we in the spiritual community believe, I mean, maybe not everyone believes, but many of us believe that it's a fun, and it's a funny thing for me to say, having been so skeptical about aliens on Earth at any point in time. But now I'm coming around to the idea that they probably are with us. Maybe more than one species. I do believe that there would be some kind of intervention in a nuclear exchange, because the planet can't be allowed to fall. We can't be destroyed in that way, because it would have a negative effect on other places and other dimensions. And like everything is tied together cosmically. So, and supposedly, according to some psychics, nuclear events tear holes in the fabric of space between dimensions. Like they actually create things like portals and other mysterious phenomena that we don't fully understand. But yeah, I really believe in my heart that if Vlad were to get that desperate, that he would be foiled by outside forces. That's what I believe. I mean, everyone should believe whatever they like, but I don't worry about it. I feel very calm about it, and I hope that others do too. I just pray for Ukraine every day, that there will be peace in Ukraine, just as soon as possible, because it's just so wrong what's going on. It's just so wrong. So that was my dream. The frustrated, self-important, narcissistic person, thought that they were all that, and they were going to end all life by launching themselves into the sun. Oh, and I remember thinking, I remember in the dream too, I was aware of the amount of energy that this person had. So the idea was actually to use their energy in a negative way to try to destroy life. And their energy in the grand scheme was so small that it was just that puff of smoke on the moon. Like they were so weak and had so overestimated their own strength because of the way they had lived and the decisions they had made, that when they attempted to use their power at its meanest and fullest, there was almost nothing there, which I thought was very interesting too, because in some ways these people only maybe have as much power as we give them, in our minds, but they're kind of empty and hollow inside. There's nothing there. There's nothing substantive there. It's certainly true for 45. I've said more than once, I don't know that he has a single redeeming human quality, and it is possible that he's never done a generous act for another human being in his entire life. That's pretty hard to do, even by accident, or on purpose, or, well, you know what I mean. But, and Vlad is probably very much like him. So there you have it. Hope that was of some interest. Oh, in other news, the draft of my next book is done. It is. I probably will play a little bit with the last couple chapters, still a little, just the language, but conceptually it's all there. And I was able to get a copy editor. The copy editor who worked on my first book, Christy Mangel, she's in the area here in Buffalo, and she has agreed to do this book as well for hire. So we're going to meet after Christmas and talk about it, and I'll get her rolling on that. So hopefully, we talked about maybe like a 3 to 4 month timetable, and I still got to try to find who can manufacture it. And I also have to get started on artwork. So I have a friend that I'm going to contact about artwork. I have a couple ideas, but artwork is so hard because it has such an impact on how a book is perceived before you consider buying it. It's so important, but it's like it's the hardest thing to like turn a whole book of ideas into just one image. So I'm open to suggestions for the cover. I do have a concept that I won't mention right at the moment, but suggestions are also welcome. I was very pleased with the cover for my first book. I really love that cloud image. It's so simple, and it really captures the way the book makes me feel. if that makes any sense. And this book will be slightly longer than the last one, but not too much longer. I think it's like 86,000 words in draft, and the last one was 78,000 words. And I plan to hopefully, if I find the right publisher, replicate the size so that it will be a similar size book, like kind of a pocket style book. And then its follow-up will be similar length and style. So they will form a trilogy of sorts if I'm able to finish all three and get them out into the world. So that's the update from here. And hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling some holiday spirit in some form, whether you honor those holidays or not. We get together in my family. We always get together Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and New Year's Eve too, and have dinner, even though like we don't, it's not a Christian thing. It's just it's more a reason to be together. And actually I'm going to see my family tonight because the Buffalo Bills have a rare Saturday night home game. So snow has fallen here. We have, I don't know, it's not that much. It's less than a foot. It's probably 6, 7 or 8 inches, and so it might be kind of a snowy game out in Orchard Park, where they play the games. So we shall see. But that's my plan for the evening, and I hope you're doing well, and that you have loved ones and or friends near for the holidays. And take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye.